What up, my freaks? RuinousInsight here with part lucky number 13 of my Total Warhammer II modded Arkhan the Black campaign. So as we saw last time, the reason that all three of our armies and lords are standing here waving their various sharp implements in the air and screaming is the fact that we're waiting for Tic-Tac-To to come back alive so that we can kill him and steal his precious plus 20% movement range for Arkhan and his army. I really think that buff is going to be worth it at the end of the day, because even while we do waste some turns here that we're not really accomplishing anything, we are still raiding, which means we are gaining XP. Plus, I almost never get the chance to build tall. Those who have experienced my campaigns before know that I basically never build tall. I always go wide, and this is a nice little break to build up some of our territories before we just continue conquering more. That does probably also add a little bit of difficulty to the game, because it does allow the AI to get a little bit stronger in that it can fight back, whereas early it's not so good at doing that sort of thing. So maybe at the end of the day this will also be quite a boon in that regard, as the difficulty is always a fun addition. And plus, it's more of a natural difficulty from allowing the AI to build up than I feel is the difficulty provided by changing the actual difficulty. This is on very hard, which does provide a bunch of bonuses to the AI and stuff like leadership, which I've always found weird, because it's sort of just like cheating. Why would their Skaven slaves be much braver than your Skaven slaves, right? I'm just remembering Skaven slaves because I have Skaven PTSD from various other campaigns, and them just coming back a billion times and not routing, which is even more bizarre. But anyway, I believe I've done everything between the episodes that needs to be done in terms of admin stuff, i.e. I've assigned a bunch of points. None of them are all that interesting, to be perfectly honest. I did notice that this Arkhan the Desert Ghoul has this Unleash Scorpions skill, just judging by the name. I'm almost thinking that maybe we go for Scorpions for him, because I have been trying to think of which particular line we would go for him, since he doesn't really buff the ghouls, or he doesn't really buff anything. His buffs are all faction-wide, so it doesn't really matter what you go. Like, it does allow us to choose on the one hand, but on the other hand, there's no guidance from his own lore. And with regards to the gods, since he's the desert guy, we have to go Ksar the Faceless, because +5 when fighting in desert terrain automatically bumps up this, another +5 for fighting in the desert terrain, so it makes sense. And he's a peerless master of desert warfare, so you gotta go Ksar the Faceless. Anyway, that was just me trying to lorefully build up that army, sort of. Not that these dynasty kings would probably ever serve Arkhan in the first place, but hey. Oh, also another thing I did between the episodes was summon another Necrotect. It's starting in level 1, of course, which is a little bit unfortunate. The reason for that is I saw that we had this one with a +10 to Diplo to all factions, which is nice. We are going to want to be trading with a bunch of vampire factions at the end of the day, and possibly some other factions like maybe the Dark Elves, somebody who's way too far away to bother with, like who we are never going to sail up to. So this is definitely going to be beneficial. Plus, we need to have these guys because they do have the boost income trait, and I want at least one province, which is going to be the Black Towers province, just making tons and tons of cash, which we obviously are going to need to fund our war effort. Anyway, I probably should have said that between the end turns, or while the end turn was going, but oh well. Let's pray that Tic-Tac-To revives in the next couple of turns. If he doesn't, I'll give him an extra 2 or 3, as I said at the end of last episode, and yeah, if he doesn't, we're just gonna assault. I mean, if there's nothing we can do, there's nothing we can do. You want a treaty of some kind, you wanted one last time, it's not gonna happen. Tic-Tac-To? Tic-Tac-To's back. Okay, well that sort of solves all of our problems here. We're not gonna bother with attacking with, yeah, we're not gonna take Arkhan with us to this. I think what we'll do is we will send him... Let's send him to the Dwarf territories. They're making a decent amount of cash at the Eye of the Panther. Hopefully they don't kill us, but we can at least raid for a couple turns. I don't think he has another army here. It would be really disappointing to have this army just straight up destroyed, but whatever. Oh, and yeah, the other thing I was considering with, as I said last time, was getting a number of sepulchral stalkers into his army, just because they'd be led by the eyes of the desert, and that once again makes sense with him being the desert fighter. But we'll see. Let's see. Arkhan, can you go here? Yes, you can. You're going to... You just leveled up. Okay, I'm gonna get you that point in a second, buddy. Don't you worry. I'm so glad Tic-Tac-To is back. Obviously, it's going to make this particular battle a little bit tougher, but we have a lot more artillery than we had last time, so I don't really see this being any kind of issue. Let's level up Mr. Arkhan before we attack here. Now, what do we need to get? I did say I wanted to get life leeching, but I feel like we should also continue in our quest to get Resurrect. The only thing there is, once again, I have no idea which one of these damn lines to go through, because I really wish that one of these would even slightly buff up the Caskets of Souls, but it doesn't look like anything actually does that. I believe there are separate stuff that that buffs those up. It's really unfortunate because none of this really helps. We're not going to have any Skeleton Archers or Screaming Skull Catapults in his army. Necropolis Knights Horsemen? No, probably not. Master Charioteers? Would we get a Kemrian War Sphinx in here? Probably not. I mean, I'm probably just going to straight up go max... You know what? Maybe we'll get a couple of... either Ushabti with Great Bow, or maybe just go straight Bone Giants. I mean, on the one hand, we already have artillery, but on the other hand, we don't really have the kind of artillery... You know what, I gotta think about this. We don't have the kind of answer that we want to large single-target units. So what will we do if we're fighting a dragon? The Ushabti with Great Bows are best at that, but I am going to spam Ushabti with Great Bows in another army led by a legend or semi-legend lord that is that buffs the Ushabti in the first place. You know what? Let's just spam Curse of Undeath for now. Get that second point in there just to max out Arkhan himself, and I'll consider this as we go some more. And of course, incorporate any ideas you guys have. And let's see, King Kura, you're going to come up here, and then we will attack together. Okay, and now you, Tolathor, can you level up by wounding this guy? Well, maybe you can, maybe you can't. Well, you failed, but you leveled up. Or no, wait, you didn't level up, you already had the skill point. But it's still 1 to 102. Huh, that bug's never going away, is it? Well, I mean, since the third game's been announced, maybe it is going away. Let's go for damage building for you, I think. Although, let's get the cheap power sap first. We should also start spamming Potent everywhere. We really need to get a lot more of these, guys. Now, what about you? Can you annoy this army? 11%. So, what I'm thinking here is we need to level this guy up. And how are we going to do that? It does cost cash. How much will it cost to damage these walls? 700, but the chance to succeed is higher, so let's do that. We're gonna have to level up like this anyway. It'll be slow going, but whatever. Oh, you can't reach it? No, you can reach it, you just didn't want to, and you failed anyway. So I think that reduces your cost, so that's sort of fine-ish. And yeah, this is definitely going to be interesting fighting these guys at the Black Pyramid, just judging by their insane freaking garrison, the fact that they have 2 full stacks and a third. Plus, they have all the spells. They have Ushabti, they have Legionary Barrage, and oh, they have Sandveil, but they don't have the Carrion Swarm one, which is the most annoying one, to be fair. So at least there's that. Anyway, I think, I mean, and there's probably some buildings to build, but let's just do this thing. Gotta make a cinematic battle. This is, a lot of this, I will warn you guys, is going to be a artillery barrage, but I think you guys are used to that particular thing by now, so let's get to it. Alright, here we go, in the shadow of the Lizardmen's floating pyramids. I warned you guys, and here it is, a massive, long artillery barrage, and that's exactly what was on everyone's mind as I was phrasing it that way. This is gonna take a while. But hopefully you guys enjoy at least some of the artillery barrage. I'm gonna watch it at regular speed for a little bit of a while, and then we'll probably speed through the rest right after that. Also, unfortunate for Tic-Tac-To, this is probably the worst map you could be defending against against the faction that has mortar-like artillery, because you have this entire area which all of our caskets can fire over. You have this wall. They have no towers here whatsoever, and yeah, this just absolutely plays into our advantage. The poor skinks are going to get wrecked here. They have a legendary unit of Temple Guard here, it looks like. Or is that a... oh, it's a Blessed Spawning. Yeah, Blessed Temple Guards. Well, they're going to get blessed by the Caskets of Souls and not much else. I don't know whether they'll survive. I no longer remember. All I remember is this particular artillery barrage taking forever. Tic-Tac-To up in the air, not brave enough, unfortunately, to go out and try to take our caskets in a raid himself. Although he does have 2 Pterodon Rider units back there. And I do believe we also have our Screaming Skull catapults coming up, which are also going to add their fire to all of this artillery nonsense. We are going to focus down a couple of their towers first, as we will want to move into this area with all of our archers, which are going to add to this just after the towers are gone. Plus, we can break the gates and stuff with the Screaming Skull catapults. Even though they don't appear to be that great at breaking gates, I don't think they're the type of artillery that does enough damage to do that, and I feel like the gates have a hidden HP value. I mean, it would make a lot of sense for them to do so, because I feel like I've seen the caskets break the gates fairly easily, whereas the Screaming Skulls take a long, long time. Anyway, I feel like we've seen more or less enough of this. Oh, I actually really like the effect of the Screaming Skulls as they smash into the buildings. It doesn't go away immediately. That's pretty cool. Poor lizards. And just imagine just seeing this and being able to do absolutely nothing about it. Absolutely outrange. Once again, this type of scenario really reminds me of Napoleon Total War and just artillery spraying enemy settlements / enemy forts with them basically unable to answer. Although I suppose it's fairly true of most Total Wars, even when you don't have a crazy amount of artillery, you still have bowmen to do this sort of deal. Poor skinks. Let's see how much damage we've done before we speed up. So we're 3 minutes into the battle. Most units here are either at half HP or a little bit higher, and I don't think it's going to get much better for the enemy as this progresses. We also have plenty of ammunition remaining on our caskets. What, about 75%, maybe a little bit less? So yeah, let's speed up through the rest of this. We'll see how many enemy units remain after this is done. And once again, yet another reason why this particular settlement is terrible for the AI to defend here is that this particular wall is perpendicular to the freaking artillery fire. That allows you to hit so many more units instead of the ones milling around down here, which is once again quite unfortunate for the lizard. So here we go, smashing these Temple Guard around. They're still alive, which is nice for them, but how alive are they, really? About half HP. Still not horrible. The Blessed Temple Guard have survived, whereas I feel like there was another Temple Guard unit in here, which I can no longer see, which might have died. The regular... oh, wait, there it is. There's the other Temple Guard unit. And it climbed back up here. Oh, you poor fools. I really wish that the AI... I really hope that for the third game they programmed the AI to withstand sieges better. Although, I guess for the third game, I really hope that they change up sieges in general and add more full cities. I know that it makes sense for them to keep this type of thing because they already have all these maps generated. They're not going to redo the sieges for the third game. Like, I really don't expect them to. But what they could do is once again, add at least some maps that are fully enclosed cities, or at least forts or something like that, if cities are technically too big to assault like this. Because, yeah, that's also true. It does make sense. I guess you could have an instance thing where you assault several walls at once and just flip back and forth between that, and thereby represent a full city. That would sort of make sense, but I don't know whether it's feasible in terms of the tech and stuff that they have. Anyway, how are we doing over here? Our range units are coming up. We still have a little bit of ammo left on one casket and a tiny bit of ammo on one Screaming Skull catapult, so we are just moving up our stuff now. And we're just going to eat away at the rest of the enemies. There goes the last of that poor Temple Guard unit. An absolute slaughter with Screaming Skulls flying in, along with tons and tons of arrows. And yeah, as I've said before, these kinds of battles do feel a little bit boring, so after most of these units are cleared out, I do decide to just sort of screw around and not send the rest of our army, but get some duels in. And look at that bat swarm. That's freaking glorious. Now here, what I decided to do was send 4 swarms, the Flock of Joff, and I believe 2 swarms of bats, all to attack Mr. Tic-Tac-To. You can't really tell what's happening over here, but there is a reason that Tic-Tac-To is the master of skies, or the skies. These guys all took quite a bit of damage in a few seconds. Tic-Tac-To barely took any and killed a bunch of these units. I was really impressed by that. I thought he'd get overwhelmed and just be unable to do anything. Imagine being surrounded by like hundreds of bats, but I suppose there's a very limited number of bats that can hit you at the same time. And there we go, Snuggles is coming in here to duel with the enemy feral bestie. We do summon a unit of zombies just to distract the enemy. Tar Pits Tic-Tac-To that he can't get out because this is where he will hopefully meet his end. Snuggles is getting hits on both Tic-Tac and the Bestie, just spreading the love around. And oh, look what we have here, a Beast Priest coming in. As King Priest with the lore of beasts, that is. I've been calling them Beast Priests in various Lizardman campaigns, and I probably won't stop doing that anytime soon. And I do keep our lords, or I do keep Arkhan back a little bit, just to watch the fun happen here. We do have our Necrotect in here, of course, as well as our Tomb Prince and Tomb King, because they didn't get too much action before, and I wanted them to play around. And I targeted everybody at the Lord instead of the Beast Priest here. I did think that Tic-Tac-To would die quite a bit faster, but he's actually fairly tough as well, which you don't expect for such a tiny little skink fella. But on the other hand, he also doesn't do a crazy amount of damage to our terrestrial units. In the skies, it's very, very difficult to beat him, but sort of pseudo on the ground as he is right now, he's not nearly as tough. And there we go, looks like Arkhan is in the picture now. Somebody needs to deal with the damn Basti and the Beast Priest after all. We do also get a few arrows coming in from our remaining troops. And yeah, this is what I was talking about, just screwing around with the rest of this battle. Not going to send our huge army in, just gonna kill these guys mostly with Arkhan and co. I did get the whites in here because these guys were taking quite a long time to kill this feral bastard. I guess they were distracted by Tic-Tac, which does make sense. Tic-Tac actually killed quite a few zombies basically by himself, which is quite good. Seems like his animation of sort of spinning around in a dervish like that does quite well. Does a decent amount of splash damage, which I'm kind of surprised at, actually. And here we go, this is Arkhan's Tomb Blade summoning. It turns out that the Tomb Blade actually allows you to summon these guys 5 times. The cooldown is pretty massive, but I thought the Tomb Blade was relatively weak until I realized that you get 5 free summons. If only they were a shorter cooldown. I'm actually curious to see whether Arkhan's scroll, he has a scroll that reduces ability recharge time by 90 seconds, I believe, which I've thus far been using to summon 2 sets of zombies at the same time, if that works on his Tomb Blade summon, because that would be pretty interesting, because then he could get 2 sets of Skeleton Warriors and 2 sets of zombies within the space of like 2 seconds out on the field. That would be pretty disgusting. It's already pretty disgusting with the ability to summon 3, but 4 with one of them not even being zombies would be quite nice. And the bestie runs out of there. He's not having a good time fighting the Whites of Stone Rat Tarn. They're just going to give a little bit of a chase, just that it doesn't come back. Tic-Tac-To over here, taking tons and tons of damage, and is just about ready to go. Of course, he is surrounded by a lot of lords, and once again, gotta give him props, gotta give him a round of applause for how long he lasted. And away he goes. Oh, and it looks like this is a little bit different than, Wait, is he gonna come back? Okay, yeah, no, he's gonna come back. Oh, wow, he sends that one zombie flying. I wonder why he lifted off like that instead of running away. I like how the Tomb Scorpion also has the same sort of dervish-type animation where he just sort of rolls around, slash spins around, and does damage as Tic-Tac-To. They're all just spinning at each other. And there we go, Tic-Tac-To is out of here. And he runs away, having morale crippled, and one jump by Snuggles takes the kill. Down goes Tic-Tac-To. I did use a Spirit Leech at the same time with Arkhan, but it looked like Snuggles got the final shot at the end there instead of the Lords, who are all just about fine in terms of HP. They took a little bit of damage actually here, both the Tomb King and the Necrotech did, but of course we lack items in that regard, so there it is. Anyway, the army is now ready to move up and finish this. I'm going to speed it up a little bit. There are still some Kroxigors and stuff to fight. While watching the duels, I actually looked away from the bats here. The enemy had a couple of those flying priests out here, and I did send the bats to kill them. These bats actually took quite a bit of damage from the fire from the Bastie with Solar Engine. These Kroxigors were about to countercharge us, and I immediately summoned these zombies, which is amazing. I freaking love using that because it stops their charge straight, and then we can charge right at them instead of being surrounded by them with regards to the smaller model number units like our Constructs and our Lords. So let's watch these Kroxigors go to town on the zombies while our own rare slash elite units go to town on them. It looks like the Bastie with the Solar Engine is also moving into support, so it's a nice little fight. And yeah, once again, this is me screwing around. We don't need to do this, but it is nice to watch these animations happen, especially as when you're sending only a few units in like this, it takes a lot longer for the battle to end. I mean, let's face it, a bunch of the... Oh, look at those zombies go flying. And, oh, I missed that bowling because the Bastie ran right into the camera. Tail smash. Got tail versus tail here. What was I saying? A lot of the battles have been ending really quickly, so not enough time to take in all the glorious animations. It looks like we got another summon of zombies, and I forgot about this little lightning effect that they have. It's kind of neat. Or electric effect, I suppose, as opposed to lightning. And interestingly enough, despite the fact that the enemy has Lord Croak on the field, he did nothing but spam the Supreme Shield of the Old Ones, which I believe is the name of the Slan force field that he has, or that... And I don't remember whether that actually costs mana now that I think about it. What I do realize is that he didn't use his special abilities here. And because he can do insane amounts of damage with the explosions, he probably could have deleted half of our force here just by smashing them with his magical powers, but he didn't do it. I don't know, once again, if the AI ran out of mana or whether they didn't want to spam it, but there it is. And this time I just sent in the rest of the troops because the Kroxigors routed and I had seen enough, and the rest is pretty much history. There is actually one more force of Kroxigors over here, but it's basically just Lord Croak remaining here. And this freaking other steg, this feral steg over here is standing, guarding Lord Croak. Actually, probably not a bad choice by the AI, because I was planning to send in all these bats to basically envelop Lord Croak, and I do end up doing it anyway. But it certainly doesn't help us that the the Feral Stag is here. Croak, of course, also has an AoE attack, as I recall. I don't know how much damage he does. I don't believe it's a lot, but it is still AoE, so doing this with all of these bats kind of sharing the same space means a lot more will take damage to Lord Croak's fire. Not a lot of them dropping, of course, but just because you're losing models doesn't mean you're not taking a lot of damage. And of course, at the same time as I sent the bats in, I did summon the Ushabti, because I don't think that the bats would do enough damage to actually make the Steg go away, even if they were able to surround and kill Lord Croak. And Lord Croak, of course, taking a lot of damage. I believe the enemy army actually routs here. Everything is shattered and routing, so this battle is just about over. Some nice animations. I don't know whether Lord Croak can rout. I think he has an ability that makes him unbreakable, and the AI use it here. Oh, actually, no. Huh. The thing is, he does rout at the very end. But... oh, maybe he loses because this runs out of time? Oh, let's find out. I'm actually curious, though. Because I noticed that he wouldn't rout despite the fact that all the other units routed. And then what I thought was, you know what, let's have him duel Arkhan. I'm really curious to see if Arkhan can actually do any damage to Croak, because Arkhan currently has magical type attacks due to the Tomb Blade, whereas Croak has a massive amount of magical resistance, disregarding even the Supreme Shield of the old ones, which he had there with his ward save of 50%. Lord Croak has a natural something like 80% magical resistance. You can barely hurt the guy with magic. So combined with any ward save that he has, he most likely has the cap against magical damage, whereas Arkhan is actually taking every hit from the enemy. I even added some buffs with that Red Fury, but really Arkhan wasn't doing much at all to Lord Croak here in terms of HP. Still, it's nice to see them getting into it. Come on, Arkhan. I tried a Spirit Leech as well, but once again, with that insane magic resist. I mean, he does, you can see his HP drop a little bit. If only these guys were to change up their animations a little bit. After a little while of watching the same animation over and over, I got bored and sent in Snuggles and the rest of the lords to finish the job, as it were. And here we go. As soon as they manage to actually hit him, he should drop. Let's just take a look at his leadership. It's still full here. Oh, this is why it ended. The defender's victory points went to 0, and then he became shattered, so he actually is completely unbreakable. And I think he dies at the very, very last second when the battle ends, because I saw his thing drop to 0 in like the last half second before this came up. But there it is, the end of Tic-Tac-To's faction, and by watching all of the battles happen, I think we gave it a worthy send-off. Both Lord Croak and Tic-Tac-To definitely, well, not really giving us a run for our money so much as showing us that they can certainly dish it out despite the fact that they were fighting against impossible odds. And there we go. Man, 4 losses, a little bit much in my opinion. I guess I should have been a little bit more careful with the bats. Obviously, that battle was basically just me screwing around. I wanted to see some stuff just fight, and I was really curious to see how Lord Croak would match up in melee against Arkhan. That was pretty interesting to see because of Lord Croak's massive magic resistance. I believe it was 80% or even a little bit higher than that based on some stuff he has. Wait, he probably has... I assume he has ward save as well, so he has ward save and magic resistance, so he's probably capped out at 90% against anything Arkhan can do. So Arkhan couldn't hurt him at all. That was kind of hilarious. Although the Ushabti did pretty decently when smacking him around. Of course, when the other lords joined in, the non-magic damage ones, he had no chance. But there we go. With that, Tic-Tac-To should be done for good. And we got that buff I was waiting for. Beautiful. Alright, province secured, southern desert of Araby, and Tiktaq'to is now gone. Alrighty, so. And oh, there's an Ushabti building here. You know what? We're going to keep that one. And, oh, there's a sepulchral stalker building here. Okay, well, I did say I was going to make this place a military hub, and I think that's going to stand true. We could... I guess we could destroy the Pit of Souls here. The thing is, do we... I mean, just assuming that we're not going to get any money out of this, we could probably delete all the money-making buildings. Oh, although the mainline buildings do make some cash as well. I guess keep the growth for now. You know what, let's delete the Pit of Souls anyway, and replace it with growth. I hope that I'm not wrong in thinking that... wait, first of all, we want to reduce construction costs, or do we want to reduce... You know what? Maybe go for growth, and then we'll change it to public order later. Yeah, what I was talking about was saying I was hoping that removing the Pit of Souls won't cripple the public order here, because it's going to have nothing but military buildings. But either way, this sort of does decide re-getting some sepulchral stalkers into the Crypt Ghoul army. Granted, that will also mean the Crypt Ghoul army doesn't really have a main line, but it's a special sort of force. We'll just probably take it into field battles and not other kinds. Now, as for what to do next, let's figure this out. Dwarves. We have to wait 8 turns until we declare war on them. That's pretty steep. That's incredibly steep, in fact. They have 2 full armies here, though. And in 1 turn, we're about to get our new army. Setup of the 5th dynasty. In fact, we should... Oh, no, we'll need some canopic jars for that, damn. So it won't be quite next turn, but we will start being able to recruit a new army as well. I feel like we can keep 2 armies here, and then send the other 2 to deal with the Dune Kingdoms. Maybe... Now, here's the question. Who do we keep here, and who do we send? I feel like Arkhan needs to deal with the other Tomb Kings. I guess we'll keep King Walkoff over here. And then these 2 will send out. That makes sense to me. And then whatever the new army is, we'll keep that one around as well. Now, also, I believe next turn, we should destroy this. In fact, we should destroy this right now so that we can build the Great Pyramid of Xandri, or whatever the hell it's called here. Pyramid of King Amenemhetem. Okay. What do you give us? 5 canopic jars per turn, plus 1 public order in all provinces, and some Winds of Magic faction-wide. That's not bad. Hero action cost, tradable resources, as well as the occupied fleet port of Terror. Plus 50 with vampire counts and coast relationships, which is lovely. And it does unlock Xandri Black Shield, so the special spearmen. This does make me think, so maybe the new force will have a bunch of spearmen. The only problem is I was intending for... Well, I guess the 2nd Dynasty Lord is going to be the one that sticks around in our money-making province, since judging by the tax rate plus 5 to own local province he probably has some other stuff, other... abilities that will allow him to continue to do that. So, what do? You like Lich Priests. And you're on Steed with Sword and Staff. You know what? Maybe we will give you the... spears. And give you some extra Lich Priests. Why not? I wish that upgrading this guy would actually give us more Lich Priests instead of just... increasing their recruit rank, like increase it by the number, just like Balthazar Gelt does. But hey, we can't all be Gelt, can we? Alrighty, let's level everybody up while we're at it. Oh right, the super defensive Tomb Prince. We're already maxed out canopic jars, so I guess we start leveling up these things. Both Phalanxes and Indomitable Will for the extra little bit of leadership. What was I thinking of doing with you? I'm getting distracted by several thoughts at once. I guess we're gonna get both spells here and then just go straight for Arcane Conduit right after that. So you're okay, and then you just hit level 20, so that means immortality for you, which is the obvious choice, and nothing else. Since we're saving for the Pyramid of Xandri, we're gonna ignore all the other buildings, and I think we're gonna ignore the rights. I am kind of tempted to pop the Great Incantation of Xar, though. Not so much for the Sand Veil, but for the attrition. Although it does depend, you know what, maybe we'll wait 1 turn. If this guy takes attrition damage, maybe we can kill him on the way with Arkhan's army. It'll be very, very tough, just because he has some incredibly elite units. But if they suffer a lot of sandstorm attrition, this might work out. The only problem here is I've seen this guy move into this territory, and if he continues to do that, then obviously our attrition thing will do nothing. In fact, if this guy's still here, there's also the option of damaging him, but if we have to wait a full 9 turns, or 8 turns, I'll have to think about that one as well. And, oh right, we gotta upgrade this as well. Damn, there's so much stuff we need to spend money on, but let's end the turn. I don't believe there's gonna be any more battles this particular episode. I think it'll take too long to get anywhere with Arkhan right now. And this guy's just gonna stay here and raid our territory while we raid his, and oh, looks like this guy is in here. You know what? If we can afford it, we will pop this. Okay, so we got the 5th Dynasty, so that's another Lord coming. We will also build the Great Pyramid of Xandri, or whatever. Just gonna keep calling it that. I really wish that this provided extra defensive stuff, because the problem with Xandri is that it can't really defend itself. Unfortunately, I think we might have to delete the Potter's Hut here and replace it with a military building, or a, with one of these Towers of Bone. It's okay, it's not a big deal, mostly because we have another Potter's Hut over here somewhere, in the Sheik, yes. Yeah, so that'll be okay. And then, do we have enough cash to pop this incantation? We do, it's actually quite a cheap one. I guess we gotta do that. I don't really care about the other stuff, it's just the attrition might serve us well. So there we go, Sandstorm's coming in. And now we can do several things. We're going to start by raiding this territory. Not a lot per turn, despite the fact that this place makes a decent amount of cash, but that's okay. Arkhan, we're going to start wandering all the way, I guess, through here. Just whatever the fastest way to go. Just go there. And King Kura, you're going to follow along. A loyal thrall that you are. Okay, what do we have here? Income generated, public order, and growth from the Parched Oasis. That's pretty nice. That is indeed pretty nice. The only thing is, I was going to get the Desecrated Sepulchres here. It's going to take a long time. Actually, it's not going to take that long. I was about to say it's going to take a long time for this to reach level 4, but actually the growth is actually quite nice here, and this will make it go faster. So let's go Parched Oasis first, and then we'll build that in the 10, 9, 8, 7 turns that it takes for that to go to level 4. Alright. That works, and we're completely out of cash, so anybody else want to do anything? Tolathor, we might actually need you to stay here. Oh, we should start recruiting our new army as well, alright. Let's recruit a lord. Gonna be a temporary lord. Let's go for this one, the Tactician Lord, because we're gonna replace him anyway, and I like the fact that he has recruit rank +1. There you go, buddy. And then, what do we get you? Now, this army needs to be changed up a little bit. We'll probably lose the spears, we might lose the Fellbats and Direwolves as well. Let's just get a couple ghouls in here, and then we'll build... We can only build one Ushabti and one Sepulchral Stalker, that's fine, we'll build those two while we can. Huh, we can recruit 3 here. Why? Everywhere else we were only able to recruit 2. What's the deal, game? What gives us this? None of these buildings do. No, seriously, what gives us this? Is it the Public Order? Public Order +1, construction time, casualty replenishment rate, no. Well then, I don't know. I don't know why we can recruit 3 here, but I'm not complaining. Let's also go for the Root Marcher for now. This guy's a regular Tomb King, that's great. We're gonna just go straight for Canopic Jars. This guy's probably not really gonna fight, because in a couple turns we will unlock Mr. Setup of the 5th Dynasty, our new Mage Priest, or Lich Priest, and then he'll replace that army. So, hero not moved, research available. Now, there was a reason I went for this, and it was because I wanted upgrades for Screaming Skull Catapult and Casket of Souls, another 20% of ammunition. You guys thought that battle took a long time with the amount of ammunition we had? Well, there's going to be a lot more for the artillery. That's beautiful. It will certainly help us with the rest of the sieges. These guys... Oh, are they not taking attrition? Excuse me. Do they have a stance that makes them immune? Oh, please don't tell me this lord is immune to attrition, and I pop that for nothing. The dwarves aren't suffering attrition either. Wait, did I misread what this does? All regions belonging to you will be hit by sandstorms causing attrition to any foreign armies. Maybe it has to take a turn. Let's find out. And we'll hopefully these guys won't just straight up run away. Oh, I don't like how these guys are they're approaching each other. So the bad thing about this is they might decide that they're willing to take on our lord here. I feel like we gotta walk him away. It's too risky. And you know what? We're gonna do this. We're gonna make you guys move up together. And we might even get an ambush out of this. As soon as we declare war, King Walkoff has got pretty good ambush ability. Let's trade 2 for 2. And I guess we'll lose 1 bad. We'll replace the rest of these. We'll replace 3 of them with 3 more Crypt Horrors as soon as we get another Crypt Horror building. And then we'll replace the last one with a Sepulchral Stalker. We'll probably replace 2 more Crypt Horrors with 2 more Sepulchral Stalkers. And then that will be this army until I decide to change anything. Might get a couple heavier constructs in here for later on, just when we start fighting crazier stuff. But once again, that'll be later on. Alright, so that works for me. You keep recruiting, buddy. I guess we can get some of these horsemen in your army. Just temporarily. We're going to replace them later. We don't need to go super heavy on the theme here, so let's just do this, and then that. And then I guess we'll get you a couple skeleton spears. I really wish I could see what kind of units the new lord is going to buff up, but we won't be able to see that for a few turns yet. Now, are you suffering attrition? No. And did you suffer attrition? No also. Okay, this guy's suffering attrition, but he was suffering attrition before. Okay, so it looks like we can't do anything to this guy. We'll have to fight him as he is. I fear that these 2 armies together are not strong enough to take him. Mostly because... You know what? Maybe they are. Maybe they are. We're here anyway. We should probably try it.
Lord of the Glade.
I mean, I assume we could take out most of the infantry. The Glade Lord, I wonder if he's on a dragon. 4,900 HP? No, I don't think so. That's not dragon level HP. He could be on a hawk or something like that. Can you usually tell what mount a lord is on from this? Well, regardless, I think this is where I'm going to call this episode. There's definitely not enough time to fight a huge cinematic battle here. But we will do that next episode, maybe next turn, or maybe the turn after that. I'm thinking that if we attack him here, he might actually be able to move far enough away that Arkhan and King Kura can't reach him a second time. The problem with that will be he'll just move away and attack one of our territories here, and these things can't hold themselves. I'd really prefer not to lose... Well, we can't lose the Black Tower, but he might take something else, so we might wait just a turn near him. But I suppose I'll think about it, and that will be the goal for next episode. Just before ending this, I'm going to check what this guy gives us. Where is the... Here it is. You give us immune to sandstorm attrition. Oh, is it because he's holding the book that he himself is immune? Regions will be hit by a sandstorm after sacking or occupying settlements. That's actually a pretty neat thing. And after sacking or occupying a bunch of replenishment rate, this is actually a pretty decent book. Let's take a look at a few of the other ones. Effectiveness of commandments plus 50%. That also seems fairly nice. Not a huge buff, but considering the amount of cash we need to do stuff, probably worth going after. What about you? Canopic Jars. Okay, this one is a relatively weak. I mean, it's a good number of Canopic Jars, and I appreciate the research rate, but going all the way out here just to get that... Hopefully they'll move closer. What else are we looking at? Oh, hello. 2 army capacity. Okay, this one has to be pretty much top priority. Occupy the settlement to take possession of Skaven Blight. Well, Skaven, this book just signed your death sentence. What does this have to do? Occupy settlement, Temple of Skulls, so kill Krokgar, basically. Okay, fine. Fine. Alright, some Lich Priests. Okay, this one's fairly weak. We got hero capacity for all heroes. That's relatively okay. Campaign movement range, which you guys know I like. And some campaign line of sight. not horrible, but also not great. And +5 in desert terrain, and a free 250 canopic jars, but not per turn, just a one-time thing. So this one's not a big deal. This one is a huge deal, though. Skaven Blight, definitely going to have to pop you or take you over. I think what we'll do is maybe we'll take all of the desert and the Badlands, then we'll pop over here quick to take Sartosa and Skaven Blight, then leave, and then return, and then take out Queek, take out Snitch, the rest of the orcs that are over here, and I assume that Malice is not here, but we will take the Lizardmen here as well, so that Crockguard joins Tic-Tac-To in wherever Lizardmen end up. So that is once again where I'm calling it, and stay tuned next time for a huge battle against Nicolandor, the Blade of Scalariel, who holds Arkhan's precious Book of Nagash. So with that said, as always, I do appreciate any and all feedback with regards to the gameplay or the way I do things on this channel. If you have a second, please do take it to leave a like and or a comment to support the channel. It really, really does help. As always, all glory to the algorithm, and thanks for watching.